loves. Today I am joined by filmmaker Christopher Piñero, whose psychological horror short, The Prowler, has been selected for the LA Shorts International Film Festival, one of the industry's Academy Award qualifying festivals. But beyond the suspense, Christopher's work invites us to explore something we all experience: fear, where it comes from, how it shapes us, and what happens when we face it. Hello, Christopher. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. First of all, congratulations, The
Oh, thank
Prowler.
you.
Yeah, being selected for the LA Shorts International Film Festival, which I read is one of the industry's Academy Award qualifying festivals.
Yes,
Congratulations. That's
thank you.
big.
Yeah, it is.
Boricua.
Yeah, yeah.
Love that. Love that. Yes. So, as an independent Puerto Rican filmmaker, what does reaching this milestone mean to you, both personally and professionally? Because it's a big deal.
Yeah, it's great to be recognized by a film festival like that because I've never been to LA Shorts. I've always tried, but I haven't been there, you know. And I really didn't expect this at all. I just kind of dropped in a submission. It was like the last deadline. It was like a couple days before, and I was just like, I don't even know if this is gonna work, but whatever. Let me just try. And luckily, I mean, it was just like within a few weeks too. I got a message from them, and I honestly didn't believe it at first. I was like questioning it. I was like so
Oh.
suspect. I was like side eyeing it. I was like, nah, nah, nah. Like, and it just felt so unexpected, and I was thrilled, obviously, that it was legit, it was real, and because they screen in a big movie theater, like that's always the dream for I think I would think any filmmaker, but for me specifically, I grew up in the movie theater. I feel like I was born in the movie theater, and thanks to my mom and my family, I've just that's my dream, just to be in a movie theater.
It's amazing how like incredulous we can be when like these amazing things happen. But I want to just say to you, because I'm waiting for that moment. So, you got to give yourself a pat on the back, and you have to remember that you got yourself to this moment, like
Hmm.
your talent, your persistence. That so I just want to say again, congratulations, because I think when good things happen to us, we're kind of like, is it real? Is it possible?
Seriously, yeah, it's
Yeah.
true. It's true.
Yeah. So congrats. You deserve it. You deserve it. And
Thank
that
you.
little boy will be, I mean, I'm sure he's very proud.
I swear it's still like, even talking to people like you who watched it, and this whole thing is just feeling a little. We were on Telemundo the other day, and I was just like, what is it going on here? I was like,
You
is
probably grew up watching Telemundo and you're like, oh my God,
oh
what
yeah,
are
in
they
the
shooting
background,
here?
like, a lot of my family's, because a lot of my family growing up were from Puerto Rico, so
Okay.
it was just a lot of people had it on the bed, the novellas and stuff, and my girlfriend in high school, her family was from there, so it was always on, and it's
Present
just like,
company included. Yep.
yeah, seriously, and like I was looking at it the other day, and I was like, is this real? I texted Ema, and I was like, is this really happening? Like,
Yeah. So one of the things, so I always do my research.
mhm,
And you said that the Prowler began with a simple question: what if fear itself became the villain?
mhm,
I love that, because fear isn't something we see, right? I
mhm.
asked Aaron, what's one of your biggest fears, and he was like snakes. So it's almost like we all, and we always think about it's an external thing.
It's a physical
But
thing.
yeah, but
Mhm.
when did you realize that fear, not the monster, quote unquote, was like the real story? Fear was the real story that you wanted to tell. Like, how did that come about?
For me, one of my big fears, I mean, I have kids, so like that's, nothing really supersedes those fears, like,
I have a 23-year-old. Trust me, I get
uh,
it.
you have a 23-year-old?
Yes. I
Yeah.
can't tell you my age because then I'd have to don't not gonna happen. Yes, I have a 23-year-old.
Wow.
And yes, I went to
Uh,
college.
okay, cool. Okay, cool. So you're at least 24. You're at least 25 in that range.
That's right. I'm at least 25. You got it.
No, I guess like I guess one of my biggest fears is the unknown. It's just not knowing. It doesn't even have to be something big, you know. It's just like just even submitting to film festivals, you just don't know, and you have there's no clue into the process. You're just like I don't know, you know, and you're just kind of anxiously waiting. And for me, it is that unknown, and in this story particularly, a character like Aaron, or the character that
Is it
like
Victor?
Aaron plays, Victor, you know, I thought it'd be interesting if they were to see somebody like that afraid, you know, because you're always seeing it the other way, and obviously, you know, there is some of that, but it was more interesting to me to see them afraid, because at the end of the day, a monster is never just a monster, and you know, everybody's afraid of something.
And we are going to get to that. But before I ask you about that,
Uh-huh.
so you shared and you just mentioned they growing up between Puerto Rico and I believe Virginia. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, Virginia Beach, yeah.
Yeah. You were surrounded by stories of somos puertorriqueños. Let's keep it real. The supernatural, the folklore, the urban legends, and we could have a whole nother episode on that. But
Yeah.
all these things I think probably contributed to your imagination. When you look back now, what did those stories teach you about human nature that still finds its way into your work today?
You know, people, you know, growing up, like you were saying, you know, you hear all these crazy stories. I grew up, I was raised.
Chupacabra.
Yep, yep. That was another one. When I moved to Puerto Rico for the second time when I was 15, that's when I had first heard about it. And I was like, can I go outside? Like, can
O el
I?
cuco. Remember el cuco?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, so all that stuff, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
and then also the UFOs like that you hear about in Puerto Rico. Like, I was like, I think I should just stay in the house today. But no, it's you know, you hear all these stories, and I was raised Catholic, so you know, you hear even, you know, about possession and stuff, and you know,
Yeah.
and it just like made it just, you know, it sparks your imagination of all these dark things that you know, you're like, damn, people are, you know, this happens to people, you know. And then, you know, as you get older, you start to realize that a lot of these um you know, these supernatural stories and stuff like that, there's usually a grounded explanation for it,
Mm.
you
So
know.
do you have an explanation for like The Exorcist? That was the first scary movie I saw. Why my parents let me watch it? No idea.
That's
But
still one of
it's
the best, still one of the
oh
best.
man.
It's
Oh,
like
is that
it's
your
incredible.
favorite?
It's one of my favorite. I don't. It's hard to like narrow down a favorite. Like Silence of the Lambs is another one that I'm really that I love, and
That's dark.
so Psycho. Those are, you know,
Classic.
I was shown these movies at an age where you should not have seen these movies, but they're in my DNA now. So like you know, I might as well do something with it. But yeah, no, I don't know, like that's the fun about this is I get to, there is room for that, because in this movie particularly, you're like, is this guy cracking up? Like, is he like, what's going on here? Like, you know, you have that for a lot of it. And I think with something like The Exorcist, you know, there is that room for you know, wonder. You know, you wonder because some stuff you can't explain. But for me in this, I was like, you know, a lot of things that I have read, there was just, you know, there was a grounded explanation for some things, and I was just like, let me lean into that, because we've seen before, The Devil Made Me Do It. We've seen that hundreds of times. That you know, you get to the end and you're like, oh, so they were possessed, or they were like told to do that by someone. And for me, that would just that didn't really give, you know, there wasn't a lot of interest for me in doing that, I guess.
Wow, it's pretty it's I mean it's pretty interesting because when I watch some of these movies, I'm like, what was going through, their head while they
Yeah.
were trying to create this?
Hmm.
But so is this true that you started your career as an actor?
I did. I did. Yeah.
So you went from being in front of the camera to
Hmm.
behind the camera
Yeah.
as a writer and a director, which is always, I think those make like really cool stories. How
Hmm.
has standing in front of the camera influenced the way you tell stories and the way you lead actors on the set? Because I do think that has an impact.
Yeah. 100%. I think being in front of the camera kind of made me more interested in character driven stories. I love the big stuff. I love, the set pieces thrilling an audience. That's like it's a mandate within this genre. You have to do that. If you don't do it, then you're doing something wrong because you have to give them that. That's like you have to give them that thrill and suspense, right? But I am more interested in the character. Why are they doing it? I'm interested in that, and I know in this short we can't really get into all of that, but at least I hope people pick up on the hints of it. There's a scene. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say there's a scene in a bedroom that he's talking to someone, and you're kind of like, okay, this guy, he's on another level of, something's really going on within this guy. It all makes sense why he's, I hope that's people can take away from that, because if you look at it at a surface level, you can be like, well, that's what this is. But I hope there's moments where you really see that this character is, not all there.
I know it's hard without giving it away.
Yeah, yeah.
Are there any particular challenges that you have faced, because you've been in front and behind the camera?
Challenges I face as like an actor or director.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. I think that just realizing I wasn't an actor, like that was like, because I went to
that's
school
very
for it.
honest.
Yeah, it was just like I went to school for it. I spent a lot of money. My mom helped me get into that school. She helped me get the loan to go there, and so it's like then you start to tell people, I'm not acting anymore, and you kind of feel this like not that you're, because I never felt like I quit or anything. It just never felt like a right fit. It just
Well,
never.
if you have the high level of self-awareness that we all
Yeah,
hope to
yeah,
reach, I think when you
yeah,
have a gift and when
yeah,
should take a
yeah,
to pivot, right? So
yeah.
I think that's the fact that that's a great thing. That means you have that self-awareness, because there's people that, boy, it's like they'll keep hitting that wall.
Yeah, and I was just, and at the time I had been, it had been like 7 years since I had like went to school. Then I had moved out here, and I was like taking classes and stuff. But I wasn't like, I really wasn't trying to do it. Like I wasn't like, I had been on some auditions, but I was just like kind of getting bored of it. And there's things you have to do as an actor. You have to be very committed to it,
Yeah,
and just like with anything that, you have to be very committed to it. And
100%.
I wasn't committed to that part of it. There was just people in my life at the time that they were like, you should be in acting classes. You should be in. And I was like, yeah, I guess I should.
But hey, I
I
mean,
don't really want to.
you try, and then if it
Yeah,
doesn't work, you move on. So
yeah,
I think that's a good thing. At least you
yeah,
tried.
yeah,
So
yeah.
your film tackles fear, but
Uh,
there's so many forms of it. Do you
yeah.
think fear is something we're meant to overcome, or we're meant to understand? And I did ask Aaron the same question.
I think fear for me, at least, I don't know. Yeah, sure. Understanding is like a big part of it. And, but I think understanding it leads you to learning to live with it. Um, and that for me is something that I learned to live with. It's like, because I'll go through long stretches where fears I have will kind of fade to the background, but then something happens or you get a thought, that intrusive thought, and then you're like, that fear didn't never left. Actually, it was still back there in that closet over there. But no, it's something more that you learn to live with than anything, I think.
I get the sense you have a good sense of self-awareness.
I try
I
to. I try
Yeah, I
to.
always find that really interesting. So, one of the things that I love to do towards the end of conversations is leave everyone with a truth bomb. So, yours
Okay.
is, what's one truth that you have learned about yourself that changed not only the way you create, but the way you live?
That I am not in control. And if you try to live life being in control of everything, it leads to unhappiness to me.
See,
Um,
I know I was right. That's self-awareness. Do you know how many people, I mean, believe they can control
yeah,
their fear, their life? Like, I mean, it's insane. Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciated that answer.
yeah,
So, just for my curiosity, and I feel like this is a really important thing to ask you. You know, people see the festival selections, the premieres, the headlines. When you spoke about how it's still surreal for you that you're in this space right now,
Hmm.
but people rarely see everything it takes to
Yeah.
get to where you are.
Hmm.
What's one part of independent filmmaking or being a creator that audiences never or rarely see that we should know? Because I know people are often celebrating, especially with social media, the highlights, but
Yeah.
it's rarely about the highlights.
No, yeah, for sure. The highlights are great and the highs are really great, but equally the lows can be very low. And another part of this being surreal is that just before I got into LA Shorts, it was one of the low points of my career in this. Is I was really disappointed with how things were going with my feature. It wasn't taken off yet, and even the short. There's a lot to getting into festivals. Like it comes down to programming, it comes down to taste, all that stuff. You're like, just because you get rejected doesn't mean your film isn't good. It just doesn't fit with what they're trying to do. And it was one of my low points. Like in the month leading up to it, I was just like not happy with how things were going. And that's learning to to live with it, I guess, learning to live with that part of it, because it's inevitable. You're going to reach that point where you're like, why the hell am I doing this? Like, this sucks.
The reason why I wanted to ask you that question is because as a creator, as a podcaster, as a writer, author, like
Mhm.
one of the things that I make sure I always share is I have a million days that I want to quit. And it's not because I know I'm walking in my purpose. I know this is my
Yeah,
truth, but it is so exhausting
for
and
sure.
people don't see that. And they say it's just right before you quit when the magic happens.
Yeah,
So
I've heard that before. Yeah.
so magic is happening to you. So enjoy it, embrace it, stay grateful. You're amazing. And I'm so glad that we had this conversation because I think people need to hear that, there are more lows than highs. So when we get those highs,
100%.
make sure you celebrate them. So today we're celebrating you. So
Thank
thank
you
you.
so much. I appreciate the
Thank you.
questions. You have some really good stuff. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I hope you enjoyed this episode. We appreciate Christopher for joining us today and to you for tuning in. If this conversation resonated with you, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And I'll leave you with this. Sometimes things we fear the most reveal the truths we've yet to understand. Until next time, own your truth. I'll talk to you soon, loves.